you is a highlight of my week. So I can see your name.
Hey y'all, we're here. I'm so excited. So I'm hoping this is all recording. Welcome to everybody on KCOH TV Radio, The Boost. Welcome to everybody on my Facebook pages. While we're talking here, I'm just gonna make sure we are all connected. The microphones are connected, and make sure that the cameras are connected. Yep, we can see that. I think everything is live, and we are going to get cracking this morning. It is Tuesday. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. So many great things happening right now. There's lots of craziness, but there's also really good stuff happening. And so we're going to talk about that. And then the theme for today is what's got you fired up, right? What are you really passionate about? What's got you fired up? Because I got some things that got me fired up. And I fired up in a good way, although we need some righteous indignation about some things too. But want to talk about that today. But before that, so it is National School Librarians Day today. And this whole month is, I think, School Library Month or National Library Month. So shout out to all the school librarians. And I'm making it National Read a Banned Book Month. Go find a banned book. I'm going to be posting about banned books. So y'all we're going to add to the list all the banned books that are out there that we think people should be reading. So follow me on my social, because I'm going to be putting that out there and say, this is going to be Read Banned Book Month. So shout out to those librarians. And here's the thing. Support your school librarian, because there's actually legislation in some states that is trying to put in place, like, felony charges, criminal charges for librarians that have banned books in their library. But the whole point of a library is for you to be able to get book. I mean, y'all, the madness is real. Okay. So go support your school librarian, go send them a snack, right? In a quiet package, because they're in the library. But just say thank you, because they are battling some madness right now, just trying to get people to read. And here's the thing. If you think historically, y'all, one of the ways that you oppress a people is to not let them be able to read, not educate them, right? Not let them know anything other than what you tell them, which means you get to tell them what you want them to know. And so one of the ways you oppress people, or you keep people down, is to keep people ignorant. That's what you do. So if you look at what's happening now, where the new frontiers of attack are happening, it's on education and it's on voting, because that's the way you keep people down. That's the way you keep people ignorant. That's the way you keep people suppressed and oppressed, is by keeping them ignorant, right? Keeping them thinking that the only way they can get whatever they need is through you or by you or with you, right? So go get some love to your school librarian, right? Go get some love to your school librarian, and go buy some banned books and read them and pass them out to folks. Also, because, I forgot my vote pen today. Y'all, I can't believe I forgot my vote pen. But y'all know how I feel about voting. So make sure you get registered. Young people especially. There are lots of things happening on campuses right now. There's a House bill in Texas, House Bill 2390, where a representative is trying to get a bill passed to eliminate all voting locations on college campuses and on K through 12 campuses under the guise of campus safety. Now, we already have the ability to carry guns on Texas campuses, but we worried about a polling place. Good morning, Legina. Yes, please go vote. The hypocrisy, y'all. So we're going to take that out. Remember, we're trying to silence people's votes because young people are coming out in droves to vote. Now, the good thing is they're also very, very vocal. So pay attention to what's happening. There are lots of states trying to ban voting on college campuses, or trying to say we don't take college IDs, or you have to have a passport, all these things, again, to suppress the vote. Suppress the vote. Voter suppression is real, and it is getting really creative. So all the college campuses, folks are pushing back though. So we need to pump them up and really support them, support these kids that are just wanting to exercise their right. They turn 18, they have a right to exercise their voice. And now people are trying to keep that away from them. So pay attention to that stuff. There are several states that are trying to do that. Idaho, it was either Idaho or Iowa, passed something, but now it's in litigation. So all the young people were like, no, just no. So pay attention to that. Go get registered. If you're 18, go get registered. Take somebody with you. Make it a voter registration party. Just go do that. Okay. Because what happens to one of us happens to all of us. Paraguay, you have a general election coming up at the end of April. And then next week start some special elections again here in the United States. So there are some things that are going to be going on. So pay attention, make sure you're registered. Make sure you're checking your voter registration records. So just on a regular basis, I check about once a quarter. Just make sure you're still on the record. Because they're doing stuff like that too. There's legislation now, I believe it's in California, it's in Arizona. If you miss an election, they automatically take you off the voting rolls. If you miss voting in a specific election, any election you miss, you don't get to vote in the next ones. Really? So come on now, right? So pay attention. Make sure you're paying attention to being on the polls. Okay. Also, because they are really big listeners as well, I see them on the show all the time. Welcome, Finland, because I know you're here again today. And congratulations, Finland is the latest member of NATO. Finland is the latest member of NATO. So I am very happy for them. I know that was probably something that was a long time in coming, but they are now a member of the NATO group. So congratulations, Finland. The flag, when I was driving in today, they were just raising the flag, the Finnish flag. So congratulations to Finland as now being a member of NATO. All right. So we're going to talk about being fired up about stuff, being really excited about stuff. Because it is easy, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs. It is so easy to get just caught up in our own stuff. You're tired. You are disappointed by things that didn't go the way you wanted them to go. Just life is lifing, and it can be really uncomfortable. And I went through this amazing challenge last week, the Make Money Moves challenge, that was just incredibly insightful. It was powerful. It was uplifting, right? There were some things about it that I'm like, whoa, that was just a lot, but it was just really good. And you got to, if you decide to go to things like challenges, like courses, if you decide to go to things, you got to decide how you're showing up and be strong enough in your own knowledge of self to know what you can and cannot tolerate, right? What you can and cannot support in terms of your energy level, your stress level, all those kind of things. So you got to get everything you can out of it, but also manage your energy. So this one was fantastic. It was 5 days. It was every day, right? There was homework every day. It was really, really good. And what it did for me was solidify. And I've been talking to you guys about this since the end of last year. It really solidified for this year in 2023, year 6 of the business, year 3 of the radio show. It'll be year 4 of the podcast, that finally, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And not that the other stuff was not good. The other stuff wasn't valuable, that I wasn't delivering value or delivering on, my services and all those kind of things. Of course I was, because that's just who I am. Of course I was, right? I was always delivering with excellence, and I'll continue to do so. And part of the journey of entrepreneurship is being able to sit still in silence, being able to and being willing to do the real hard work, like that deep work on you, and being really focused on what is your bigger purpose. Why are you doing this? Because y'all, this is not easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Leadership and building businesses is not easy. And so you have to be real clear on why you're doing it. What is the purpose? Because there's going to be times when you're like, really? Let me just go somewhere else and let somebody else worry about the payroll and give me a paycheck. I mean, the struggle is real. And yet I know this is it. And so what made me think about the topic today, what are you fired up about, is there are so many things happening right now that we need to be fired up about. As I said, we need to have some righteous indignation about this madness that's happening to suppress votes and take people who have no idea how to design curriculum and what people should be learning, and they're taking over for people who have master's degrees and PhDs in their specific topic in education, and they're taking over telling us what we should be teaching. I mean, it's just, the madness is real, right? And it's enough to make you crazy. It's enough to either make you yell and scream and run out in the streets and just lose your mind, or to just go to ground, right? It's enough to make you not know what to do, just be in complete paralysis, because there's so much coming at us. And yet, because I like to live my life in possibilities and glass half full, right? It's all about perspective. You can have righteous indignation. You can be irritated and frustrated and angry, all of that. Move that into action. And you can put yourself in a mindset of possibility and opportunity and impact, right? And do things that move you and others forward, right? Because there are more of us than there are of them being all the folks on the fringes that are just loud and sometimes dangerous. That is true. I don't want to be naive, but those of us who are truly wanting to move forward, not saying we agree on every little thing, because we don't, and we don't have to. That's called being an adult. But we do understand how to operate in a world of complexity. So what are you fired up about? What gets you fired up and gets you excited about just getting to work every day, right? Getting to interact every day. So, when I started this business, I knew when I came out of corporate, I'm like, no problem. By March, I'll have this business up and running. It's going to be fantastic. Here's what I'm going to do for people. Okay, well, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? But you keep moving. And so now, full circle, I started a podcast just because it was really for visibility. I really wasn't interested in necessarily doing a podcast. But I've come to love it and have met some really great people through the interviews that I've done on this podcast. And there's some more people coming, by the way, for the interviews there. And it turned into something that I loved in terms of being able to impact, being able to get messages out. The things that I get back from people saying, oh my God, that is so what I needed to hear. That's why I do this, right? That's the reason these things and this effort is important, because it's not about me. It's about the ability to serve and make an impact. So when I thought this morning about what really fires me up, because of course I heard some things and read some things and all this stuff that's happening right now, which is madness in New York. We all know what's happening right on the news. And even though I have my perspective and my opinion about this individual, if I sit in the truth that everyone is entitled to due process, then I have to allow for due process, right? I can be opinionated about it. I can be loud and obnoxious about what I think it should be. But if I'm going to sit in my truth and I'm going to speak these words to you and live what I say I live, then I have to be willing to allow due process for everyone, even someone that I would rather not have it, right? I have to be willing to support all of that for everyone and fight for everyone to have due process. And so as I started thinking about all this madness that's happening and getting my nerves like wound up, I thought, wait, we're going to sit in possibility today. We're going to sit in what fires us up. And here's what fires me up. I love seeing incredible women who have taken their heart and their mind and all of their resources, right? Time, energy, and money to build businesses that are making an impact. I love seeing them do amazing things in their community. I love seeing them build these teams that are incredible. I love it, right? And I love working with them when they have reached that pinnacle, right? That tipping point is probably the better word. That tipping point between founder and CEO. Because those are two different things, right? Those multi-seven-figure women business owners, because that's usually when it happens. Multi-seven-figure women business owners, that's when you've been in business probably about 5 years, right? You have maybe about 15 people, and you know why you started your business, But now you got 15 people who want some of your time. Now you've got conversations you need to be having with folks, and you're in the bowels of decisions, but you really also need to be continuing to grow your business, and there just isn't enough time in the day to do all of that. Now you're finding yourself not having time to work on your business because you're so busy in your business. That tipping point of how do I pull back up to run this business as a founder and CEO, fulfilling my mission, right? Doing the things I want to do without losing the feel that I want in the business. As your chief navigation officer, I call that, how do you continue to lead with your heart, but act with your head? And I am so fired up when I work with these women about those things, because I see the genius that they have. I mean, they've built businesses, y'all. They have built amazing businesses. This stuff that I'm helping them with, that I'm helping them navigate through, and can help them navigate through masterfully because of my lived experience, that when I see that and I see then that exponential turn and they are on fire again, fired up, right? Energetic, because I love coaching with people, right? I love having those conversations. But as an introvert and an empath, it is heavy for me to do that. It takes a lot of energy to do that. That one-on-one is a lot from that kind of interpersonal coaching. That's a lot. It takes a lot of energy. This Founders Intensive that I have designed and is launching soon. I've actually been doing it with people for a little bit, but formally putting it together as an investment for serious founders and CEOs who are ready to get over that hump. When I did this with a client recently, I had so much energy afterwards. You know, normally I have these conversations and I'm like, whoa, I need a nap, right? I was so fired up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fantastic for them. Fantastic for them. If they can take these things that I have walked them through and do the work, right? Because as your chief navigation officer, I'm not doing the work for you. I can't guarantee you results. I can't guarantee you results because I can't guarantee you your work effort, right? Because it's not about me. I'm helping you navigate, but you got to do the work. Just like I've done the deep work on me. You got to do the work, right? You've got to make the decisions. You've got to decide how you want to show up. You've got to get grounded again in your very mission. You got to get grounded again in your why, in your purpose, in your vision. And so grounded that you are willing to have conversations that are difficult. You're willing to let folks leave. You're willing to bring people in who have a skill that fills a gap that you have, right? Because your ego's not there. It's not about ego, right? It's about purpose. It's about impact. It's not about ego and promises and politics, right? It's about solutions. And you are so vision focused and mission focused and solution focused that you are able and willing and capable, because you're always capable, of making the decisions you need to make to be the leader and the CEO you need and want to be, to take your business to the next level, to be a multi-8-figure, multi-9-figure woman founder business owner, because you've done the hard work and you've had the hard conversations. And you understand that you can still be heart-led, right? And be mind action, right? Lead with your heart, act with your head. It's not about emotion. It is about compassion, right? Because when emotions lead, then we make decisions that we sometimes can't come back from. But when compassion leads, we can stay in that mindset of mission first, people always, right? Because if you don't have a business, you can't give anybody a job anyway, right? You got to have a healthy business in order to be able to support your people, in order to be able to keep jobs and give jobs and build jobs and add new jobs. You got to have a healthy business to do that. It is not mean or nasty or egotistical or selfish to want to build a highly efficient, highly profitable business. Because by doing that, you are able to impact your community. You can provide jobs for people. You can provide jobs that give them a catapult to what they want to do. You can become a thoroughfare for other entrepreneurs or other innovators, right? Other business owners, other CEOs, other COOs, or other people who really never want to have their own business, but what they do want to do is work for a place that values them, values their expertise, is going to help them continue to grow and develop, is going to help them build and lead and learn and have joy in the work that they do, right? Not everybody wants to run a business. Not everybody wants to be a CEO. Not everybody wants to be a senior executive. But those who do, how can you ensure that what you're doing supports them in that achievement, even if that means leaving you? Because one of the best things you can do is create ambassadors for your business, right? I know no longer this works for the two of us, right? We are not going to be big enough for you where you are, and the things I see you being able to do, we just can't do it right now, right? We can't support that. I can't support that right now in the business, but I tell you what I can do is support you. Here's who I know in my network. Here's how I can support you. Here are the things I can do. How can I connect you? Because what you're building is ambassadors. You're building people who may actually boomerang, right? They leave your business, they go get other experience, they get other networks, they learn new skills, and then they come back because they loved working for you. Or they go out into the world and they do amazing things. And when they talk to people, they're like, you know what? Here's where I got my start, and here's what they allowed me to do, and here's what I learned, and here's how they really taught me about how to value people, about how to build teams. It's not about keeping everyone that you hire. It's about valuing everyone that you hire and understanding that in valuing people, sometimes that means, one, letting some go with LOVE, right? Helping them be successful somewhere else. And sometimes it means letting them go to help them fly, right? And if that fires you up, if your business fires you up, what are you doing to keep your business moving? Because I know I am fired up about what is coming, because I know that this is where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And I cannot wait to meet more of you 7-figure women business owners who are killing it and making an amazing impact and are just reaching a wall where you're like, you know, what got me here won't get me there. I don't understand why I'm so tired. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've been doing this for 10 years, whatever it is. It's not working anymore. You're right. It's not working anymore. So come spend a day with me and let's talk about how we readjust that. How we come back to you first, because it always starts with you. How we come back to you first. Are you really aligned with who you are? Are you clear on where you are, right? In your business, in your life, all those kind of things. Let's reassess and re-clarify your vision of what it is you want and what you want this business to be. And then let's get you a plan of action, both on your org structure, on the communications you have to have, on role clarity, all those kind of things, in order then to make the vision happen. Because to go without a plan is just a wish. And proper prior planning prevents poor performance. I got to write these down, y'all. I need my whole Lauralisms book, just like my Holly friend, Holly Dowling, has her Hollyisms book. I need my Lauralisms book. Right? Let's spend some time getting you fired up about your business again. Let's spend some time getting you back in your zone of genius of building this thing that you have put your heart and soul into, right? Hire the accountant. Hire the outsourced HR company, right? If you don't need it, if you're not big enough to have an HR person in-house, don't hire one, but get somebody who can help you with that stuff. Hire the external attorney. There are other women-owned businesses in these spaces of IT, of online business managers, of human resources, of employment law, of IP law. There are people building businesses on absolutely everything you need. How are you being a good steward of your resources, time, energy, money? Where are you spending your time? And is it better to spend your money there and your time elsewhere? Are you spending all of your energy involved in decisions and conversations and discussions that could very easily be done by the people that report to you if you would just let them go? If you would set clear expectations, if you would be really forthright, right, and outspoken about the expectations and the overall goal and the overall direction, not asking permission, because it's your business. You don't have to ask permission. But if you're going to build trust, what you do have to do is make sure people are clear on the vision, the mission, and the goal and the direction. That you are clear on the expectations so they can align with you to meet those expectations and know very clearly when their behavior is contrary to the expected outcomes. Because it's not about a personal attack. Their personal character is of no consequence to you, right? What is of consequence to you is their behavior and how it impacts the outcomes you're trying to get to. So how do we get you fired up again about your business and not drained and sitting in overwhelm and, oh my God, how am I, really? I have to have this conversation again. Why am I looking at my calendar and I don't have any white space in my calendar? And y'all, I'm speaking from experience. When I left corporate, most days except for Friday, because I was usually traveling back home on Friday, was back to back. And I'm leading the department. And I'm like, why am I the first one here and the last one to leave? And I'm leading the department. Everybody else is gone. Everybody else is having a life. What? Something's wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody else should be working and not have a life. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is something was upside down. Something was upside down. If I'm the first person there and the last one to leave, something is off kilter. And I needed to adjust. Now, my adjustment at that time was to get out of a toxic situation, right? It was toxic to me, to my very well-being. I just couldn't do it anymore, right? Let me rephrase that. I keep saying that. Words matter. I could do it if I had chosen to. I chose not to. It was no longer worth it to do it, right? It was no longer worth it to have no sleep on a Sunday night. It was no longer worth it to not be able to eat and exercise in a way that fed my body and kept me healthy. It was no longer worth it, the stress, right? It just wasn't worth it. That doesn't mean that people weren't worth it. That doesn't mean that any of that. It's not personal. The situation was no longer worth the investment of my resources, time, energy, and money. It just wasn't. And I was willing to take whatever consequences of that decision to leave were. If you're running a business, what is it worth to you? What is your investment worth to you? Right? What are you willing to invest in your time, energy, and resources to get where you are? And what are you willing to let go? Because sometimes investment is investment in separation. Investment in letting something go and allowing room for something else to come in or someone else to come in. Again, it doesn't have to be nasty, right? That's one of the things that as a former HR executive, that was always so hard. People had such a hard time having really candid conversations, especially around performance. Why? Because they didn't know how to have them focused on behavior and not focused on the person. Because while the personhood of the person mattered, the person's character didn't matter. What mattered in that situation was the behavior and how the behavior impacted the organization, the teams, the colleagues, the outcomes, all of that kind of stuff. It was behavior tied to outcome. It wasn't personal character. And so if you're unable to have a conversation that focuses on behavior and behavior tied to outcome, that's when it gets personal. That's when it gets uncomfortable. That's when that candor becomes nasty. And you don't have to be nasty to be candid. That's when those conversations become uncomfortable and nobody wants to have them. And then you wind up with someone that you should have had out of your organization years ago. In some cases, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But you've been saying for too many years, oh, that's just how they are. Oh, that's just how they are. Not realizing, let me rephrase that, not being willing to recognize the impact of that on the rest of your organization because everybody else sees it. And you're telling them what you value by your actions. People will listen to what you say, but they will believe what you do. You're telling them by your actions that behavior is not only something that you will tolerate, but in some cases may appear to them to be something that you desire and look for those that you promote. How do you think we got so many bad leaders in leadership positions? Because they emulated behavior that was seen all the way to the top. And because the leaders at the top had supported that behavior and everyone else, what were they going to do? All of a sudden cut it in this one person? Seriously? Right? What are you fired up about? Are you fired up about your business? Are you fired up about being an incredible leader? Because leadership is about behavior, not about position. Are you fired up about making an impact? Are you fired up about not leaving your organization, your department, your team, your whoever, not leaving them without having had an impact a positive impact on them just because you were there. Because you were there to serve. Because you wanted to make a difference, right? What is firing you up on a daily basis? Because you got to sit in that being fired up in order to continue to move and grow and do some things, right? Because it is not easy. And if you are in a toxic corporate environment, that's really bad too. I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, every day I had to get up and figure out how to go to this job every day, knowing that I had zero support, knowing that not only did I have zero support, I had people who were actively working to harm me or dismiss me or, really kill anything I needed to have a life, right? To be safe. My safety was in jeopardy every day. Psychological safety, right, was in jeopardy every day. And in some cases, I've talked to people who truly believe their physical safety was in jeopardy every day, right? There are many, many people who just wake up every morning trying to figure out how to do it over again. And we as leaders need to understand that and recognize that we don't know everybody's struggle. We don't know what people are going through before they cross it over the threshold of that company, right? We don't know what's happening. And we can't assume that we know what everybody's going through. And that doesn't mean you got to get in everybody's business, but you do have to be observant. Are you seeing behavior change of somebody you've been working with for a long time? There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you just don't seem yourself today. Is there anything that I can do to support you? You don't have to ask, what's wrong? Is everything okay? How's it going? If that's your thing, ask that, but just as a caution, HR head, right? Just as a caution, be careful about asking that question, because sometimes you're going to get stuff that then you have to hold that you don't necessarily need to be holding, or stuff that you're going to have to reveal because the person is a danger to themselves or someone else, right? Or there's a compliance issue or something. So just be mindful of the questions you ask. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm just observing a difference. How can I support, right? What's happening that's causing this change in behavior? There's a myriad of ways you can ask those questions to get at what is a contributing factor to a change in behavior. But it requires that you are observant first, and it requires that you care second, right? Listening actively is listening not just with your ears, but also listening with your eyes, right? Watching body language, listen to what people say and what they don't say. Observing behavior, observing interactions with people. Those folks should be in meetings all the time together. They always used to sit at the same side of the table. They always used to, something's not right, right? Getting out of your own ego and out of your own space so that you are just as fired up about your people's success as you are your own. In fact, even more so sometimes. Seeing folks succeed, seeing folks move into spaces where they are excited to be there, and I see them like blossoming. I love that. I love that. When I've seen people that I worked with years and years ago and see what they're doing now, right, and the new roles that they have, and they're just killing it. Oh my God, it just makes me so happy, right? That if I even had a little part in that, if I was able to have one conversation with them that said, no, you should absolutely go for it. No, you can do that. Or, ooh, let me pull your coattail. Let's talk about this because I don't want this to come and bite you, right? Being that advocate, that mentor, being that sponsor for some people, making sure their name is mentioned in rooms where I know their name should be mentioned and they're nowhere even close to the list. And being willing to speak truth to power. I am really fired up about speaking truth to power. Being willing to speak truth to power, to call people on the carpet and say, at least in my presence, you're not going to be able to say you didn't know. You may still make the decision that you make. You may still decide to act in a way that's inappropriate, but you can't say after being in my presence, you can't say that you didn't know. And I'm mature enough most days to speak truth to power in a way that can be heard, that is quote unquote professional for whatever environment that I'm in, right? And to know when tempering that message is the right thing to do, and when just letting it loose is the right thing to do. When telling people enough is the right thing to do, right? When putting that face on that says, not today, not today. And knowing myself enough to know that one, I don't have a poker face. Not even close. I don't have a poker face. But because I don't have a poker face, I also know myself well enough to know that I need to decide on my words and tone, because my face is probably saying, have you lost your mind? But that's not necessarily the words I want to say. Now, some days they are, and those have been known to leave my mouth, right? But I am aware enough, right? Chief Navigation Officer, y'all, I've been doing this a long time. I know how to navigate situations for the best outcome that's possible. When to lose your mind, when to be a little bit quieter, when to be silent and let your silence speak, right? And some of that is knowing yourself well enough to know that if you're someone who's got something to say about everything, maybe then you need to start tempering that back. Because why do you have something to say about everything? Are you really adding value, or you just want to make sure people don't forget that you're there? Sometimes you need people to feel your absence. You need them to feel your absence, even if you are physically present. One of the most powerful moments I had was in an all-day meeting where I said nothing, until a question was addressed to me at the very end. And then I was very clear in one statement. All help is not helpful. All help is not helpful. And that's all I said. And we called it a day. And I went back to my hotel. I didn't hang out. I just wasn't doing that, right? That in and of itself spoke volumes. And I meant it. I meant every word of it. And I wasn't doing it to hurt people. I wasn't doing it to be, to throw a temper tantrum, all of that. I didn't yell and scream, but I was clear. Not all help is helpful. And tonight I have a choice. I am not spending one more minute in the presence of this madness. I'm just not. And it is not a requirement of my job description. So therefore, y'all will see me tomorrow. Phone was blowing up. Oh my God, are you okay? What's going on? You know what? I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. Because see, I've got other work to do, and being in this madness is just not a part of that. And it is not conducive to me getting the stuff done that really needs my attention, right? So I am fired up about supporting people, right? Supporting women-owned businesses to get where they need to be, to get back to leading with their heart and acting with their head and building big businesses that make big impacts. And I am fired up about Black women in corporate navigating those spaces that are not meant for us and being able to show up authentically in our power, knowing how to use that power to our advantage, knowing when it is okay, even if they say you are showing up as a mad Black woman, to just let folks know, not today. Knowing when it's time to just be silent, being able to really read a room, as they say, and then make a conscious decision about how you're going to interact. Because often we allow other people's actions to dictate our behavior. And it takes years to get past that, right? It takes a lot. It takes a lot of battle scars. It takes a lot of maturity to get to a place, for most people, to get to a place where a lot of that stuff doesn't affect you, or you can make a conscious decision to say, it's just not going to today, or it's not important enough for me to really care. And it takes a while to get there, unless you're wired like a good friend of mine who has always been that way, right? If it's not on the list, it doesn't matter. And he's not upset. He's not irritated, nothing. He is absolutely unemotional about stuff. If it's not on his list of care abouts, and he's not angry, but now don't mistake his silence or his kindness for weakness. Because I've seen that come out, and that is ugly. That is ugly and painful for the person on the receiving end of that, right? Because as he said, I done told you, right? I said no, and I meant no. And if you keep trying me, that's going to be painful for you. Because see, I don't care, right? So it's really important when you think about what you're fired up about, right? What gets your gut going? What gets you excited? What fires you up and why? What is the impact that it makes? And how can you use that to push yourself and others forward? Because leadership is not about you. Leadership is about everybody else, right? All right. We're going to take a quick break here in a minute and do some shout outs. I've already shouted out to you guys in Finland. I know y'all are showing up again today, and I'm gonna do it. Just keeps coming up. Y'all keep showing up, so I think I'm just gonna have to figure out how to do that pop-up this year in Helsinki once it gets warmer, because I don't do cold. So, and I think it's still really cold there. From what I saw the other day, I was actually looking up something in my feed popped up about Helsinki, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to go when it's warm. So I'm thinking I might see y'all in July, August.
Well, Russia's in here.
Hey, Russia.
Argentina, Japan, Canada, France, Mexico, Germany, Brazil, Finland, Brazil. We have St. Louis. We have Helsinki. We have Frankfurt. We have San Antonio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Raleigh, Durham, Chicago, Kansas City, Washington, D.C., and Houston.
I love it. Welcome, everybody. Good Tuesday morning. I always forget to introduce myself because I've been doing this so long, 3 years. I figure, everybody knows me by now. But I am Laurel Rutledge, your Chief Navigation Officer, trademark, Chief Navigation Officer and host of the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show live here on KCOH TV Radio, The Boost in Houston, Texas, in the historic Third Ward at the historic KCOH radio station with our looking glass window out here, looking out onto the world in Third Ward, and all the people who walk by, peer in the window, all that good stuff. Rockefeller Plaza ain't got nothing on us, Jerry.
No, they don't.
Right? Rockefeller who? We got our own window. Yeah. Y'all come on down and hang out outside the KCOH window. Right? We got some stuff going on down here.
I like what you said about saying your name, though. I was going to tell you that one day.
Right.
Yes, you have to say your name repetitiously.
All the time.
In fact, if I were you, I'm not getting in your business. I throw that K in there, too. Laurel K. Rutledge. K stands for...
I am Laurel K. Rutledge. Yeah, because there is a Laurel Rutledge who's like 10 years older than me. They got some issues in her background. That's not me, y'all. Yeah. I am Laurel K. Rutledge on all platforms. Laurel K. Rutledge on Instagram. Laurel K. Rutledge on Twitter, which I'm very rarely on, but my account is out there. Laurel K. Rutledge on LinkedIn. I'm at the Rutledge Perspective on YouTube and on Facebook. Find me, follow me, send me a little note. Let me know what you want me to talk about, right? And I'll put it in the mix. Download the podcast. The new episodes drop every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. So download the podcast. We are almost at 16,000 downloads in less than a month now. Yeah, it is coming. Y'all look. I just have to say again that I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you so much because I keep showing up, and because I keep showing up, y'all keep showing up. And when you're showing up, you're downloading, you're listening, you're sharing, you're sending me comments, you're sending me little DMs and sending me notes. And I appreciate that, right? Every time somebody sends me a comment on LinkedIn, on Instagram and stuff, I appreciate those, y'all. I really read those, other than the ones that are like, posted on so-and-so blacklives.com, right? Those fake things. I don't want that. So I just delete them. But those of you who are really sending me messages and hearts and likes and comments, and I so appreciate it. And I thank you so much for all of that. I do not take it lightly because I know we have choices. We all have choices in where we spend our time and energy and money. And I appreciate that you are choosing to spend it with me on Tuesday mornings, which, by the way, next Tuesday's good. The Tuesday after that, the 18th, I will not be here. So I forgot to tell Jerry that too. I will not be here on Tuesday the 18th. I have a development thing that I am doing, right, for my continued development, so I can continue to do things for you guys. And the kickoff meeting is during the show on the 18th. So I will not be here on the 18th. So that's 2 weeks from now. So I won't be here for that. Yeah, so I want to know. Good morning, Tisa. Thank you. I appreciate you too, honey. I want to know, Miss Jerry P. Beasley. See, Jerry always puts the P in her P. Beasley. Jerry P. Beasley. I want to know, because we were talking about it a little bit this morning, what gets you fired up?
I'm glad you asked that question because that was really a thought of mine today. Sometimes I said, even when you're in your passion, you can get tired and weary a little bit. And for a couple of weeks, I was like weary a little bit. I was
Yeah.
like, I love it, but I don't know, I'm weary.
Right.
But it was all about I wanted to do some remodeling and get some things done, and it was taking longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
But today I was fired up, like when you said, "Well, you're on there," I'm in there just slinging stuff around, and throwing stuff out of there, and that's been every day. That's my passion.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you that too. What is the purpose of doing radio to you?
Yeah.
For me, it has been a lifelong dream, but it has morphed into seeing in the exchange of people being blessed by it, people being helped by it, giving some vital information, making space and room for those that are ready and prepared. Then I like what you said about coming in sometimes like the angry Black woman.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be that angry Black woman because they don't hear what
They don't
you
listen to this, right?
Anything else. So my passion is seeing other people being blessed by the vision, and then the vision keeps morphing into something bigger. And
yes. It's the same for me. As I was saying earlier, what I love about working with these women business owners is they have put their blood, sweat, and tears into building these businesses, man. And I don't want them, one, to write a big check because they do something stupid. I don't want them to do that. But two, I want them to get back to that thing that is the fire in their belly. And when you get to that place, that tipping point where you got the people stuff, you got the org stuff, you got the client stuff, you got all the things, and everybody wants some of your time, everybody wants a piece of you, you can get dragged down by that. And so if I can get them back to that fire in their belly and give them, and this is going to sound really weird because they shouldn't need this from me, but sometimes you need it externally, give them permission to be inaccessible. That's what I love. Because you don't have to be accessible to everybody, even when it's your business. You don't have to be accessible to every single person that you hire. Stop that. That's why I say, stop saying your business is like a family. That's a lie. That's a lie. It is not. It's a business. It's a business that you want people to feel valued and comfortable, right? But not everybody's family is great. Not everybody's family is comfortable. Not everybody's family is loving and supportive and uplifting and all the things, right? And we all, even in good families, quote unquote good, right? In families that don't have a whole lot of mess, have somebody with some mess. All of us. What you want is a business where people want to be there and feel valued. And that does not require that you turn yourself into a pretzel and are work 24 hours a day because everybody wants a piece of you. That is not a requirement. What is a requirement is when you do give people time, that it is intentional, that you are focused, that you are listening to them, that you are present. And if you can't do that, then you are not doing something right. And that probably gets back to some misguided need or pressure to be all things to all people and take on all the responsibility of everything that happens. Yes, you are responsible for the business. Yes, you built it up. Yes, ultimately your name is on it. And you hired people because you couldn't do it by yourself. Get them to do what you hired them to do so that you can do what you need to do to keep the business growing. Right? I am fired up about getting people to get that fire back in their belly and to be okay with saying no and not today. And I can absolutely meet with you, but it won't be for another couple of weeks, right? Understanding if it's blood on the floor, bones sticking out, I probably need to do something about it. If it's not that, then I'll work on it when I can, right? It's okay to be inaccessible at some point. And to your question about why, what has me fired up about radio and why did I do radio? I committed to myself to be more visible, and the radio show, Jerry saw something and it came up. I believe that was divine intervention. I said it, I put it out there, I write it down and make it plain. I will be more visible in 2019. That's what I wrote down. Radio show showed up in August 2019, right? That's the other thing. You got to be patient. Just because you write it down today doesn't mean it's happening today or tomorrow or even next year. But if you stay mindful, if you stay patient, if you stay focused, it will. If it's what's meant to be and you really are aligned with that, it'll show up. And so I initially did it because, you know what? I said I want to be more visible and this is a way to do that and blah, 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 blah. But what it has turned into is an ability to be globally connected, which I love. That gives me a fire in my belly. I love seeing that Helsinki's here, right? And Brazil is here and Argentina and Kenya and Nigeria and all that. I love it. The same with the podcast. I love it. I love putting all these countries on my list to say, okay, I'm going to go. And when I go, I'm going to do a pop-up, or I'm going to do something so that people know, one, that I'm here, and that I'm here and want to give gratitude in their presence for the fact that they show up in mine. Right? So it has become something that enables me to reach folks, enables me to say and support my business. Because here's the thing, I am in business to make money, because that money enables me to make an impact. Right? I don't want to build a 7-figure business, 7+ figure business, so that I can say I'm in the 7-figure club. I want to build a 7-figure business because I want to make a 7+ figure impact. I've got $100 million foundation to build, y'all. Right? I got $100 million foundation to build that is going to go after K-12 education, because no kid can learn when they're hungry. And we got to fix that, among other things, right? There's a whole list of stuff I want to tackle with this foundation, but we're going to start with the basics. Hungry kids, teachers coming out of their pocket for stuff, and lack of access to good technology. We're going to go after those 3 pillars first, and then we'll go after, get some experts to talk about teacher quality, curriculum design, all that kind of stuff, right? So I am building a business that in and of itself makes an impact on other women business owners, so that I can make an impact in this other deep why around education. Because I cannot leave this earth, I cannot, without being able to go and say, you know what, I did everything I could to make an impact in that area. Because the access to a stellar K-12 education, in my opinion, is every child's birthright, regardless of socioeconomic status. Every child is entitled to a stellar K-12 education. Stellar. And we know, well, for those of us who actually read, we know, at least in this country, that is one of the ways to keep people away from things, right? You stop educating them, you give them poor schools, you do gentrification. That's why it's so hard to fix, right? Because it is entwined in a whole bunch of other stuff. Property taxes fund schools, which means that schools in poor areas are less well funded, which means the kids don't get as great an education, because even if the teachers are stellar and passionate, they don't have the resources that they need, right? It's a whole cycle, y'all. And to undo that took centuries to build, intentionally to build, right? Almost requires just blowing the whole thing up and starting over, right? But that takes intentional fortitude. That takes a movement away from politics, taking politics out of education and talking about educating kids. Because guess what? These are the folks that are going to be making decisions for us when we're 80 and 90, Lord willing. Do you want them to have never read a book? Do you want them to not know how to think critically about stuff? Do you want them to not be able to understand the power of AI, but how you connect that with human intervention to really make it powerful? Right? What are we doing? What are we doing? And what are we doing to impact? And what are we getting fired up about to make this impact? Again, it's not about agreeing on everything, because adults know how to disagree without being disagreeable. That's what grown folks do. Unfortunately, that's not what we see a lot in the media, because see, that doesn't sell, right? All the rhetoric sells. But grown folk understand that it's not about consensus all the time. It's not about believing and thinking and doing the exact same thing all the time. It's about compassion. It is about clarity. It is about perspective. It is about respect. It's about respect. That's what grown folks do, y'all. And so when I think about the radio show, the ability to globally reach people and to talk to you guys, and to, even if it's just one person that needed to hear something I said today, I feel like I've done what I needed to do. Just one person. Each one reach one. Just one.
I like the fact that you were able to call it out, because when you're talking and I'm listening to your vision concerning education in schools, and I think about the radio and I think about a global reach, and then putting the vision out there, you just never know.
You never know
who's tuned in and listening for that vision. And I told somebody the other day, I'm over the euphoria of doing the radio.
Right.
I've done it for 30-something years, so just being on the mic doesn't move me. I get bored with that. But the vision of what it can bring, and the influence, because influence is greater than money at times. You may not have the money, but you get influence when people can hear your voice all over the world. And you have to tie it to a vision. or else you're going to give up quickly. I've had people start and they were ready, I'm going to be here, and then they leave because they were not understanding. It takes a minute. And you said
it does.
Yeah, you gotta build your audience. You gotta build a rapport with people. People want to know who you are, what you're about. And to hear you talk about your vision, my head is clicking because I'm thinking about a Dr. Colvin, that she's an awesome educator, and that you two need to meet and hook up because she does a lot of things with it deals with education and funding schools and all that nature. So I think it's important to know what you're called to do. Then another thing you said that stuck out. Then I'm out your business. Another thing you said that stuck out because I was in there talking about you gotta say that is entrepreneurs and CEOs. They have more than one job and one task to do. And I like what you said about we can't be buddy and we can't be family. Because I had somebody call me the other day and they were like, "Can I come up there today? Can I?" I said, "Really, I got a lot going on and and I don't think they really understood that I was mopping up water and I had a lot going on and trying to answer doors. When you're really trying to make it what you just said, a place where people can enjoy, the leader is the one that's overseeing all of that. You can say, I can't cook in a dirty kitchen, so I can't function a business if it's out of order. Having another person in a place that's out of order is going to cause stress.
Absolutely.
So I like what you said. You did a great show.
You know, and it's about, you know, responsibility rolls down, accountability rolls up, right? As the business owner, I'm accountable for everything that goes on in this business, but I'm not responsible for executing all the pieces. I'm not. Once I get a team, that responsibility starts getting spread out amongst other folks. I am ultimately accountable that it gets done and gets done in a way that meets the vision and matches the culture, right? And is on brand. I'm accountable for making sure that happens and correcting it when it doesn't. But I am not responsible for every single thing that happens, right? Because I'm hiring people to do stuff. And so I need and want and desire for these business owners, these women-owned businesses, to separate responsibility and accountability, to not feel like you got to be all things to all people all the time. One, because it's impossible. But two, it's going to take you away from your vision and your dream if you're trying to be all things to all people. I also want you to stop apologizing for making decisions in your business. It's your business. And everybody's not going to like everything you do, and that's okay. Write it down, make it plain, communicate with people, be clear about what you're trying to do, and then they're either on board or they're not. And they will either be with you or you will help them be successful somewhere else, and that's okay. Both of those situations are okay. So I am fired up about having these small business owners stand in their power. It is not that I'm making them something that they're not. They built a business without me, right? I am not that arrogant to think, oh, you can't get to this next level without. That's not true. What I can tell you is, with my background that crosses accounting, logistics, enterprise risk management, consulting, HR, right? I've been in internal audit. I've been in an accounting company, an accounting department. I've been in a big consulting firm. I have worked globally. I've worked domestically. I've run departments. I've built departments. I have divested things. I have been part of a purchase of things. I've done all the things, right? That breadth of actual experience, not just kind of I read about it. I was in it. Those battle scars enable me to be your chief navigation officer and help you navigate to the space you want to be in. That's my mission. That's what I'm fired up about. And if I'm not the right person for you, I'm not offended. I got a great network. I probably can find somebody for you. But I know that when I work with you and you spend that day with me digging into that, right? That founders intensive is a full day. When you make the investment, because it is an investment, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, it's not free. I give away a lot of stuff for free. This is free, right? I give away a lot of stuff for free intentionally. That deep dive day, the kind of work that I put into that, the effort I put into that, so that you can then put in the effort that you need to go make the things work, right? I know that it makes an impact. I know that it makes a difference, and I know it will take your business to the next level. And if you are ready, reach out to me. Reach out to me, because I'm serious. I am serious about this Founders Intensive. And for those of you in corporate, those of you who are leading in corporate, this is a really weird one because it's kind of B to B to C, right? It's really, I've got a group thing that really, I'm looking at those women who are new to the C-suite, right? Or new C-suite adjacent, right? Your SVP, that kind of thing at a location or at a division. Black women in particular, navigating that space, because your world just turned upside down when you got that C in front of your name, right? Or that VP or SVP. It's different than when you were just leading your department. So let's talk about how you navigate through that. Continue to go back to who you are as a leader. Get clear on what you're trying to do, and then let's get you some plans of action of how you're going to make that happen, right? So stay tuned. The website refresh, just looked at it yesterday. Y'all, my new website looks so good. I'm so excited. I am so excited for it. So we're going to be doing some launches here early May. So stay tuned for that. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in again on this Tuesday. I am fired up. I want y'all to be fired up. In fact, send me a note on one of my socials. Tell me what you're fired up about, what you're going to make happen. Thank you for tuning in. I am Laurel Rutledge, host of the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show live here on KCOH TV Radio, The Boost. And I will catch you next week. Same time, 10 a.m. Central, here on the station. Take care. Bye, y'all.